Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today we're going to finally get to take a look at the G.I. Joe classified Storm Shadow. And if I got Storm Shadow, that means Spirit came in, and guess what else dropped? Crockmaster. So today might be an extremely busy night, especially going into tomorrow, because I should be getting a few more things in also tomorrow. So let me first start off by socials. Punk with Toys on Instagram and on Twitter. So if you like the channel here, follow it, hit the bell. You'll be notified every single time I drop a video, which this weekend would be a lot. So first off, let me start off with something that I talked about on the last review, which was the Cobra Officer. And I mentioned how there was an issue with the AK-47s and the ports. Yeah, they go in, but they just kind of drop out. Well, I was wrong. It's actually that blast effect on the Valaverse. So here's another Valaverse one, no issues. Later on that night, I was kind of messing around and to give you a bunch, and I tried a whole bunch of other ports and found out it was actually just this one. The other large blast effect, I had no issues with, so that's it. I just wanted to get that out. So now let's get into the video, and first off we'll take a look at the box. And as you can see, he's already taken out. You know that he'd be there, so you don't want to have to worry about this, because guess what, there'll be no window. But start off, no issues with these figures at all bending. But again, it's like almost 90 degrees out, so there's a good chance they were already warm, but I haven't had any issues with the Classified. So here you have your artwork. I think it does look really nice here. And then on the side, you get more Storm Shadow. He is number 35 on the line. It's taking way too long to get it, but hey, guess what? It is here, so I'm excited. And there you go. Got the back, which once again will soon be gone once the windowless packaging is done. So let's take a look at our figure. And oh, look, he is. Look, here he is. He's carrying his son, little O-ring Storm Shadow. Let's just say, you know, I do comparisons. Here's the original. I have the new O-ring up there. I'll probably use him. As you know, I've already compared them. They're really close to being the same. So we'll just start off. This guy looks absolutely amazing. I want to say that it was TNI News that said he might be up for Figure of the Year, and I have to agree. He looks better in person. I was not really for this. I thought it looked pretty awful when I saw all the pictures. Get them in hand, no issues with the ab crunch. It actually looks really nice. So I don't think the pictures did him justice. And then on the back, there you go. You have his backpack, two swords. Obviously his bow and arrow, which just fall off fairly easy, and his arrow. So without further waiting, let's just get right into this so we can review this. We can take a look at it, then you can decide. I'm not even gonna say you can go out and find him. As a matter of fact, I think anyone watching this has probably already gotten it. It's either coming in on order, because God knows this figure is really, really nice. So let's take a look at it. All right, so here are our figures, and honestly, first off, let's just take a look. How does he look next to Snake Eyes? That's what really matters. So I brought Snake Eyes up here to show you what it looks like. To say that my G.I. Joe Classified display is in utter disarray would be an understatement, but right now it is a mess. So I would definitely be redoing the whole thing. Set Snake Eyes next to him. Here is our O-ring Snake Eyes. That is my original. And so here's Arctic Storm Shadow, or as I say, version 3 Storm Shadow. I don't believe any of the parts are reused. So nice mold. Not flexy at the, not loose at the ab crunch like this one, but this one is a completely different Amazon exclusive. I only brought him up to just kind of show what he looks like, and that there are no reused parts except for possibly the arrow. I'm not even sure about that. I'd have to pull that out. I actually forgot to grab it. So, all right, so quickly we'll take a look at our figures. And boy, at first glance, as I said, that thing falls off a lot, just like the other. So at first glance, you look at them, you know that is Storm Shadow. So to take a look at the two, pop off the backpacks here. Pop off the backpacks and take a look at them. And the same cross belts they go on. Now he has his throwing stars here. They're on his waist here. That would probably be uncomfortable, you figure, anytime you bend down. There is no dagger, but he does have the Cobra symbol, and he obviously has the ripped sleeves, unlike this one. Now he does have his sweat wristbands, which he also has here, but they gave him they gave him gloves on his hands, which is more or less used for his bow and arrow. And they even clipped it so you can put the arrow in there. It does pop out pretty easily. He's pretty much just white going down. They gave him a little bit of breakup in the texture here with the gray. It actually looks real nice. And even the toes here are cut in. And even these were cut in. So that's, I guess, if you want to use the throwing star with your with your toes. And on the back, same thing. Now the piece of the belt was over here. They put it right on the back here, and this is just a little piece that just kind of pops off, pops right back on. So it is something you could lose and you kind of got to watch for. As for the hands here, if you really wanted to, you could pop the hands off. And if you have Shang-Chi, who a lot of people do because they use him as quick kick, his hands will work, but you'll have to trim a little bit here. So as I pop it off and I try and put it on there, they won't go in all the way. And I know I mentioned this on one of the Valorverse, but this one here, you can see that it does go in all the way. And you can actually see how much shorter this one is. So you would have to trim it, but it pop right in. So if you want to have the bare hands, not that hard to do. All right, as for the articulation here, his T-pose without a problem. He does have his butterfly. Butterfly to me, it only does so much, in all honesty. Here's a guy even without a vest, and they can really only go in so far. Pinless elbows, which is really nice, and they're double jointed. You do have your wrists, but also on here, this is a mold that connects to it, so you can bend and twist this, so you can get in better positions, especially with the bow and arrow, because of this elbow swivel. So you have the bicep swivel, head moves up and down. It's on a smaller ball joint than others. So the neck does move a slight bit, but not that much. Everything's pretty much going to be in the ball joint here. Pinless legs. Double knees, no issues whatsoever. Thigh swivel. Boot swivel. Ankle rockers. Same as all the other Joes. And he does have the drop down hips. Now, I've said before, I'm not a big fan of the drop down hips. But I do believe in this one. Like a Spider-Man, you might be able to get him in poses that you can't for other figures. And now to quickly take a look at another thing here is, so this is the Storm Shadow that came with Zartan. And here is the Storm Shadow 1. And there are two different molds, completely different. Not only the color-wise, but one is also thicker than the other. The Zartan is much thicker. Now you can put it on here, and it's very loose because I use the bigger ball joint. But if you use some sticky tack, if you like the way this one looked, you could do that. And then you have your hood. A lot of people seem to have an issue not figuring out exactly how the hoods go on. The big part is where the head goes in. Just put it on top here, It just pops down, and it actually looks really nice, but I just don't want my Storm Shadow, at least this one here with the hood. What I do like about the hood is it is a plastic, but it really does look like it is cloth, and it's extremely soft, much softer than this one. So that's a real nice touch. I do like it. And unlike our original Storm Shadow here, this is made so if you wanted to take the hood down, it looks like the hood is off. So you could just leave him without it and pop that on. But so you could do that, do some Shang-Chi hands. I'm sure there's other Marvel Legends hands you could use, and then you would have a very, very authentic Storm Shadow O-ring version. Hands are a little bit of a different color, but I don't think you're really going to notice because they're not butted up right against each other. So quickly pop this off, throw the downed hood on. Now let's take a quick look at the weapons. So here's your original Storm Shadow, and then here is the classified, obviously. So first thing that you're going to notice, they're done opposite. They're not that big of a deal. Sure, it would have been nicer if they were the same way, but if he is right-handed, this is probably the proper way. Two swords, and they follow the detail of one long, one short. The difference is with this one, it actually shows you which one is supposed to be the long and which one is supposed to be the short. So short one obviously goes here. You can see which way that it goes. Pretty cool. And they also give you a nice little detail on it. All right, so it's not just some basic sword, which is nice considering Snake Eyes has his actual sword that came with version 2. Now the bow is completely different. This is more of a version 2 style bow, which was the compound bow. And if you remember this bow here, you can see I use sticky tack so I don't lose it because it comes off so easily. It's just a regular plain old bow, but the compound bow tends to make a little bit more sense. And then it has this little groove here, so you can pop it into place. But as I said, it does come off pretty easily. So if you're going to be moving around a lot, maybe you want to take some sticky tack, put it behind it, and it'll hold pretty nicely. So he does come with the quiver of arrows, and here on it he has the Arashikage symbol. So the only complaint, and it's not really a complaint, I think it's actually pretty nice, is when you look at it, you can't even really tell that there's an arrow sitting there. The slot is perfect, but if he does tip over, it just falls right out. So if we're able to see there, there's a hole and the thing just slides right in, but it's made to fit in perfectly with the other arrow, so I do like that. Because you can't pull this back all the way, they talked about that, how originally they had it shooting, and they kind of came down and said, no, you can't do that. They did make it so right here, there's a little port, so you can put the arrow in and hold it. So that way you don't have to worry about the hand completely holding it, which I did with this Storm Shadow a few times, and it's not the easiest thing in the world. Even though his fingers are made to do that, it tends to pop out because there's nothing, I'm pointing to it, you can't see it, there's nothing behind it where it can just grab, which that would have been nice if it would have had like a little lip that just could have held it, but no big deal. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that. So there is your Storm Shadow. I think this figure looks absolutely amazing. Not that I didn't think that he looked good in the first place, but hey, there is one gripe. And it makes little sense because they actually gave 2 of them in the O-ring ones they just redid, and there's no nunchucks. And I'm not really sure why you would leave that out when I think the nunchucks are actually very important with him. But nonetheless, it's not something I'm going to cry over. It's not something I'm going to lose any sleep over. But nonetheless, there are no nunchucks, so it does take away from him being exactly like the vintage. But toys do go in real nicely. And you can do all different types of things, just like any 6-inch figure. So there you go. Well, let's wrap it up. All right, so there you have it. That's the wrap up of number 35, the Storm Shadow, new classified. Again, I know all over people are getting this figure right now. I know people have done reviews on it. I definitely do like to compare them. I think it gives everyone an idea, because I was even doing it before they started going so close to being exactly like the original. But this figure, I mean, it says a lot for a $22 figure. Now, if you're spending 18 bucks on a Super 7, 5 points of articulation, man, dump that crap. This figure, I mean, you can get him at Walmart right now for 20 bucks, and he is showing up. Every other place is 25. And it's worth the extra money compared to what Super 7. And I'm gonna say the Super 7's gonna have a hard time at beating this, even with their $55 Ultimates. But quickly, let's pop this out here, and I will kind of show you once we get this on. Bear with me, I'm still dealing with the the tooth that was extracted. So when you look at it, I can fully see why they put it this way. It really went along with the harness. But here, again, it tends to make more sense. So if that's something you're going to gripe about, then you're probably one of those people complaining about the his tank being $300 and everything they've given us with it, trying to say that it should be close to 50 bucks. Yeah, honestly. Go on some of these Joe sites, these Joe YouTube, or not YouTube, Facebook pages, and you're going to see people complaining that, yeah, this thing should have been 50 bucks. You know what? Next time I go buy a full-size, loaded Dodge Ram, I'm sorry, it's just a Ram now. I'm going to say, you realize that this thing would have cost me like 14 grand back in 1980. So why is it, 70 grand right now? Yeah. People obviously don't look around and see how much they're paying for stuff. So this is an amazing figure. As I said, TNI News I think it was them that said this thing may be up for figure of the year by just looking at it. And I really do agree. Of all the figures that I got in so far, I think he does look the best. And all the other ones look really nice. So I will say this, Mezco, we know you have one coming out for the $115 you're going to charge us, or whatever it is. You better step your game up. Not that I don't think Mezco will. And once I get some of these Mezco figures, the Joe figures, I'll be able to compare them to the classified and actually decide whether or not you want to spend $100 on one or the 25 bucks. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. Again, on the socials of Punk with Toys, is Instagram and Twitter. That's it. I don't really use Twitter, but I'm tweeting it out, trying to grow the channel. Hope everyone is following. Hope everyone gets involved. And again, go out, pick up this figure because he is well worth it. So anyway, I'm out of here. Everyone have a wonderful day and happy toy hunting.